Hi, my name's Vinh Giang. Now, just in case on the off chance you don't know who I am, I teach public speaking, communication skills, storytelling, etc. I'm part keynote speaker, part entrepreneur, and part magician. I know I'm a bit of a mixed breed. Now, just like you can see in this title, this video is about the 7 most common public speaking mistakes. I do have to warn you though, I've just recently in the last 7 days consumed the entire Lord of the Rings series. So, no, who put that? That can't be real, can it?
My precious, my breath. Don't do it, Vin. Must resist the power of.
Oh wow, this is crazy. I can't believe this is. Better stop that, otherwise I'm going to get completely carried away. The biggest mistake in the world of public speaking that people make is they neglect to rehearse. The reason I start with this is because when you don't rehearse, this is the root cause of so many different problems that can arise. For example, when you don't rehearse, you're going to be stuck in that mindset where you start to think, what if I forget what I'm going to say? And then as a result, you're not present and you're forever stuck in your head going, wait, what comes next? Wait, what comes after that? So you're not present, number one. The second thing is you're going to be glued to your notes. Because you didn't rehearse, you're just going to be looking at your notes and chances are you won't be giving any eye contact. And then the third thing when you don't rehearse is that you're not going to feel confident and the audience can feel it when you don't feel confident. I hope you can see just from that brief discussion that rehearsal is critical. Now, as a rule of thumb, being a keynote speaker, remember this is my profession, this is what I do. And when a conference organizer or a company brings me into their conference, I'm usually opening their conference or closing their conference. So this is a pretty big deal and I've got to make sure that I'm a professional. So the rule I follow as a keynote speaker is that every presentation, especially if it's a new presentation, I rehearse it 120 times. I know this sounds ridiculous to the layman, but this is just a part of what we have to do as professionals. We must be polished with our craft. So the rule stems from a theater rule of for every minute that you are on stage, you have to rehearse for 2 hours, and then 1 minute, 2 hours, 120 minutes. For every minute, you have to rehearse it 120 times. That's where it comes from. Again, just to give you more context, if I've got a 1 hour keynote, I've got to practice it for 120 hours. During this entire pandemic, I've written a brand new keynote of which I've rehearsed now at least 70 times. And every single time I rehearse it, I find new ways to improve it. That's one of the reasons why rehearsal is so powerful, not just so that you remember the things that you say, but so that you can polish it and polish it and polish it and make it world class. Now, I make the assumption that the majority of my viewers are not keynote speakers or professional speakers. However, you still have to present in your professional careers. So what would I suggest? This is what I suggest. For every minute that you have to present in your professional careers, I would rehearse it 10 times. In other words, just to make it super clear, if you've got a 10-minute presentation, rehearse it for 100 minutes. If you do this, it's going to help you feel extremely confident and allow you to be present when you're actually delivering the presentation. Now, a quick tip for rehearsals as well. Make sure that when you're rehearsing your content, most people make the mistake of, they just read it while they're rehearsing. And when they read it, they do this, they go,
hello, good morning everyone. Okay, thank you for coming to my presentation. Today I'm just going to talk about the importance of
That's what they do, and how you rehearse is how you present. So what I want you to do is instead when you rehearse, read it and rehearse it as if you have people in front of you. So say, hey everyone, good morning. Thanks so much for taking the time to join me for today's meeting. Today I want to cover the following topics. So rehearse as if you're presenting. And here's something I want you to consider, because when you have low levels of effort and you rehearse with low levels of effort, that equates to low levels of retention. When you have high levels of effort and you rehearse, that's going to equate to high levels of retention. And as Gandalf brilliantly said,
all we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us.
My hope is that you'll use some of that time that's been given to you to rehearse. Now, before we dive into the next common mistake, I do have to show you this meme where it's on screen right now and I love it. It says,
let this be the hour we draw swords together.
There are two swords that they drew together. That is absolutely brilliant. Now, going into the second one, the second most common mistake is the use of filler words and non-words. And you've probably heard me say this before, but when you use filler words, which are the words we use to fill the silence, or non-words, which are the sounds we use to fill the silence, it decreases the clarity of your message. It makes you seem like you're nervous, it robs you of credibility, and it robs you of authority. And I see this happen all the time. And this also happens because generally people don't rehearse enough. Therefore, they're always thinking about what comes next. And when they're thinking about what comes next, they're afraid of the silence. So then they use, This distracts people immensely, and it decreases the clarity of your message. Just check this quick example out here.
He gave us a good deal in regards to the minimum requirements to actually fulfill an order.
Number 3, speaking too softly. I want you to imagine now just a scale of 1 all the way through to 10. Right now, to give you context, I'm using about a 7 out of 10. Now, with a 7 out of 10, and I'm speaking with quite a bit of volume here, I hope the following comes across. I mean, I come across as more confident, right? I come across with more authority, don't I? And I come across as having more vitality. And doesn't it seem like I believe in the things that I'm saying? Now watch what happens when, from a 7, let's say I drop it all the way down to like a level 3. Now watch what happens when I speak with a level 3 volume. Think about what that does to my level of confidence. My level of perceived confidence, my level of perceived authority. Does it seem like I believe in the things that I'm saying? I mean, what about my vitality? Do you notice what happens there? And the reason people tend to drop their volume immensely when they get on stage is the moment somebody clips on a lapel and puts a lapel on them, all of a sudden they go, oh, I don't need to use volume anymore. I can just kind of bring my volume down. But instead of doing this, just get the AV person and the AV crew there to just bring down the mic a little bit, but still allow you to use volume because it comes across. Because watch what happens again. If I just cut my volume, all of a sudden, my energy seems like it's dropped immensely and I've lost a lot of credibility, authority, and vitality. With my students who habitually have a softer spoken voice, when I push them to use a stronger volume, they often come back to me and say,
Oh, Vin, I don't feel natural. I feel like that's not my natural voice.
And I challenge them with the following. I say to them that, look, the voice you currently have, it's not your natural voice. You lost your natural voice at the age of 2. The voice you currently have, that's your habitual voice. If you get stuck in a habitual voice, and let's say, for example,
You only speak in a really loud and obnoxious way, and this is the way you speak all the time, then let me tell you,
that's also a bad thing. It's not about this or that. It's about learning how to use the entire scale and understanding and developing enough self-awareness so that when you need to be softly spoken, you can engage with that and you can comfortably move into that. And when you need to be strong and defend a point, you can easily move into that with ease. Let me just quickly throw you to an example where you'll see one of my students speak with a fairly soft voice, and then I want to contrast that with them using a much stronger volume and watch the difference.
I had a great time. I studied beer. I studied pizza. I had a great time. I studied beer. I studied pizza.
In that particular student example, I hope you can see why it was more important for them to use a stronger level of volume. Moving on to the 4th most common mistake. This is speaking too fast. One of the core reasons why people speak too quickly is, let's go back to number 1. They neglect to rehearse. And when you don't rehearse, one of the natural things that tends to happen as a result of this is you start to feel nervous. And when you feel nervous, what's one of the first things you do? You speak really quickly. Let me use myself as an example in this section. I want to cut to one of the pitches I did, this is about 8-9 years ago, and I want you to watch this video of me pitching one of my businesses and listen to how quickly I speak.
So if you guys have a look here, we have options moving from angle to angle, moving back to grid view, and also we have slow-mo and scrubbing features.
With the video that you just watched, did I seem confident? Did I seem composed? Did I seem present? Not really, right? Seemed like I was nervous, seemed like I was rushing through the presentation, and honestly in my head I was just thinking, oh my goodness, I just want this to be over. And guess what? That evening, we didn't achieve the best result. To remedy this, we go back to the first thing we spoke about, rehearsal. If you know that you naturally speak very quick and that you get nervous, and when that happens, you speak even faster than quick, then what you've got to do is, during rehearsal, consciously practice speaking slowly. Because remember, the way you rehearse is the way you're going to present. And if you already speak quickly, and then when you go and rehearse, and then you read your presentation like this and you go through it really quickly, then guess what you're going to do when you go out and you present? You'll speak really quickly. A question my students tend to ask me as well is they say,
Oh, Vin, is it actually possible to change the way we communicate?
and the simple question I ask them back in return is, well, can you change your behavior? And the answer is yes. Yes! Speaking is just a series of behaviors that you've learned, and you can learn new behaviors, therefore you can change the way you communicate. The fifth most common mistake is forgetting to make eye contact with the audience. It's very easy for this to happen, especially again when we're at the lectern and we're looking at our notes. I've seen speakers before who will stand at the lectern and not even look up once. I've also known people to, look up, but then when they look up, they just look up really quickly and then look back down. Very quickly and then look back down. Why do you think this happens? Again, it's because of a lack of rehearsal. And when you get stuck in your notes and you don't look at the audience, guess what the audience is thinking? Oh, this person doesn't care. They're not really present here with me right now. They don't want to connect with me, and they don't really seem confident. They kind of seem insecure. See what happens when we don't look at the audience? So what you want to do is you want to ensure you rehearse, know your content inside out, so you can leave your notes to the side, you can leave the lectern and fully engage with the audience. Even on video, when I don't look at you, all of a sudden, I seem a little more insecure, I don't seem confident, I don't seem present, and it's hard for you to connect with me because you can't see my eyes. Can you see from this example the importance of eye contact? I'll throw you back to a part of my pitch again. And I used to be terrible at this because I was so scared of looking at the audience because I had really low self-esteem and low levels of confidence. So instead I thought, I could just not look at the audience, and I held my laptop in front of me. I mean, I knew this talk inside out. I'd practiced it so many times, but I held the laptop in front of me so I didn't have to look at the audience. Check it out.
We have a website that is currently an online magic subscription, as you guys all know. So we're going to be using this app to channel traffic, qualified traffic, to our website, hoping to improve conversions.
In case you haven't realized already, everything in the realm of communication is a skill. It's not a gift, it's not a talent, even though some people are born with the gift and the talent. This is a skill. Even eye contact, it's a skill. It's something you can learn to get better at. The seventh and final most common mistake that people make when they speak is they overload their slides with text and information. You see, this is a problem because when you get on stage and you speak, you are supposed to be the center of attention. Don't have your slides competing with you. Keep the slides extremely simple so that you can click to it, people see it, they look at it for 1 beat, 2 beat, 3 beats, and then they can look back at you. Don't make the slides compete with you. There's a great book called Presentation Zen. And if you want to learn how to create beautiful slides, check out Presentation Zen. I've read that book twice now and it's helped me produce really nice and elegant slides. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's video. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me, what are some of the common presentation mistakes you've seen? Share with me those common mistakes down below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're new to me and new to my content, I've got a 45-minute free masterclass down below you can check out. And in that masterclass, you'll learn the core foundations of great communication and a powerful self-awareness technique that's going to help you become more aware of your strengths and your limitations. Check it out, the link's down below. Other than that, looking forward to seeing you in the video Oh no, it's calling to me. It's calling to me again. I must take this and destroy it in the fire of Mount Doom. Sign up for my free 45-minute communication masterclass. See you in the next video.